A toxic colleague is scheming to oust you from your position. Or even more bitter, the person you love the most, using the cruelest words to crush your self-esteem. No reinforcements, no way out. In that exact moment, what will you do? Fly into a rage and fall straight into the trap, or choose the path of silence? In our previous video, we understood the power of delaying your reaction, that golden pause that keeps you from becoming a slave to your emotions. But stepping back is merely defense. To truly turn the tables, you must know how to transform that silence into a penetrative counter-strategy. Today, I am bringing you the 5 most practical Stoic exercises to master the game against any adversary. Pay ultimate attention to exercise number 4. Once you truly understand it, every insult hurled at you from the past until now will instantly turn into a harmless farce. Exercise 1. Ego detachment. The moment you delay your reaction, the very first thing that screams and rebels inside you is your ego. Your ego is inherently narcissistic. It craves protection. It demands to prove it is right. It wants to appear strong. And your attacker knows this all too well. Their insults, coercion, or manipulative psychological mind games are nothing more than baits. If you take things personally, you have willfully swallowed the hook. By frantically rushing to defend yourself, you have handed the keys to your own brain straight over to your opponent. The philosopher Epictetus left us a priceless lesson. If anyone can control your mood, they are your master. The Stoics disarm their enemies by dissolving their own ego. When you no longer feel the need to protect a polished image, your opponent's attack completely loses its target. Look at President Abraham Lincoln during the American Civil War. He was repeatedly and publicly humiliated by Edwin Stanton, his own Secretary of War, who called him a damn fool and a low, cunning clown. A leader driven by a fragile, towering ego would have fired Stanton on the spot. But Lincoln didn't. He stepped back, delayed his reaction, and calmly replied, "If Stanton said I am a fool, then I must be a fool, for he is nearly always right. Let me go see him and find out what mistake I have made." Lincoln completely detached his personal ego from his ultimate mission, saving the nation. As a result, Stanton later became his most loyal right hand and held the deepest respect for Lincoln. Stop translating their words in your head as, "They are insulting me." Instead, translate it as, "They are simply emitting sound waves that signal their own inner rage." The person who maintains emotional neutrality is the one holding the handle of the blade. Exercise 2. Fluidity over rigidity. Many people manage to stay calm in the first few seconds, thanks to delaying their reaction, but fail shortly after because of rigidity. They enter a confrontation with a rigid script locked in their mind. The other person must admit they are wrong. The contract must be signed on the old terms, or the argument must clearly define a winner and a loser. This stubborn rigidity turns you into a fixed target, easy to read, and easy to break the moment reality sidetracks. Seneca once wrote, "A wise man adapts to circumstances as a sailor shifts with the wind." Stoic resilience does not lie in the stiffness of a fortress wall, but in the fluidity of flowing water. Water does not crash against rocks to prove its strength. It flows around them, seeps through the cracks, erodes them over time, and ultimately wins. Look at the martial arts legend Bruce Lee, a man deeply influenced by Stoic philosophy and Taoism. His iconic quote, "Be water, my friend," is the ultimate manifestation of this mindset. When facing an opponent with a longer reach and heavier strikes, if you stubbornly rely on sheer muscle power to clash head-on, you will be knocked out. You must fluidly adapt your mindset, yield just one step to throw them off balance, and use their own momentum to bring them down. Exercise 3. Strategic alternatives. Human survival instinct in a conflict often forces people into binary thinking, either fight to the death or surrender in shame. They turn a confrontation into a dark, narrow, and suffocating tunnel. They forget that a person with a Stoic mindset always views life as a vast landscape with multiple elevations and escape routes. Marcus Aurelius ruled a Roman Empire on the brink of chaos, facing betrayal from his closest generals. Yet, in his meditations, he never wrote about destroying or avenging them at all costs. He always looked for other paths, tactical forgiveness, subtle assimilation, or even an authoritative silence. Strength is not about roaring louder than your enemy. Strength is when you possess the ability to redesign the rules of the game. Look at how President John F. Kennedy handled the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962, a moment when the entire world stood on the brink of a destructive nuclear war. The top American military generals at the time continuously pressured Kennedy to launch an all-out military strike on Cuba. The binary mindset: we must fight. Kennedy delayed his reaction, enduring immense pressure to seek a third way. He executed a naval blockade combined with secret negotiations, opening an honorable way out for Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev without compromising the position of the United States. That was not cowardice. That was the pinnacle of strategic positioning. In a family argument or a dialogue with a partner, when you feel the negative energy has reached its peak, apply the tactical retreat rule. Deliver a definitive statement in a completely calm tone. I think both of us have very valuable perspectives, but right now is not the optimal time to make a decision. We will stop here and resume tomorrow morning. This crisp silence is exactly like draining the oxygen right out of your opponent's fire of rage. Exercise 4. The Anatomy of Confrontation. This is the core exercise that I want you to engrave into your mind. The Stoics view human nature with a ruthlessly honest clarity. When someone lunges at you with rage, insults, or calculated coercion, most people will see a dangerous threat and instantly build a defensive wall. But a person with a Stoic mindset will step back, utilizing that golden pause to perform an immediate psychological autopsy right on the spot. Instead of listening to the literal content of their insults or attacks, focus entirely on observing their body language and behavior to strip away the illusion and expose the raw truth. A person roaring in violent fury is in reality a psyche completely out of control, paralyzed by absolute fear. A person weaponizing bitter sarcasm is, in reality, using a fragile shield to mask a deep-seated insecurity and self-doubt. A person trying to bully and impose power over you is, in reality, someone whose personal life is unraveling outside their control. They are desperate to extract a false sense of power from you. The exact moment you see through the noise, call the situation by its true name, and pierce through both the fear and insecurity driving their attack. You don't just break their weapon, you completely master the dialogue. Exercise 5. Life's annoyances are your gym. An ironclad composure in the face of confrontation is never a gift of luck or accident. It is the result of a rigorous conditioning of your psychological muscles. If you allow yourself to lose your temper over a delayed meal, fly into a rage when cut off by another car on the streets of New York, or lose a night of sleep just because of a negative comment on social media, then what right do you have to demand a cold head when standing before the true crises of life? Turn every single daily inconvenience into a gym to forge your Stoic resilience. When someone offends you, do not react immediately. Smile and whisper to yourself. Exercise number 5 begins. This is the first weight to train my mental muscles. Take a deep breath, exhale slowly, and choose to master the situation with an unshakable presence. You fight in the light exactly the way you have trained in the dark. You see, true Stoicism is not about making you cold and unfeeling. It gives you a heart, vast enough to embrace your own wounds and to hold space for the instability of others. In the midst of this chaotic world, you choose to remain calm, not to defeat anyone, but to protect the kindness and peace of your own soul. Next time the storm arrives, pause for a moment and take a deep breath. When you choose understanding over reaction, all pain naturally stops at the doorstep of your mind. If you want to continue guarding this inner stillness, walk with us here at the Stoic path. Leave a comment. I choose stillness. I choose peace. As a promise to yourself. Thank you.